Well, I'd like to welcome everyone to another dynamic conversation here at the Singapore FinTech Festival. I'm Dan Gay, Chief Marketing Officer of BlockCerts Blockchain. And today we're joined by an awesome panelist and with Elizabeth Dana, and we're showing that here on the screen, who's the Chief Executive Officer of Infinity Circle. And Elizabeth, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Dan. Actually, this evening in London.
That's right. I say this morning, but this evening in London, and Singapore, it will be the morning here as well. So, and then also Tiffany Johnston, who's the Chief of Staff of BlockCerts Blockchain, who's doing a lot of the coordination of this Singapore event. And thank you, Tiffany, for what you're doing.
Thank you, Dan, and welcome, Elizabeth. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Glad to be here.
As far as Infinity Circle, the groundbreaking digital wealth creation in fintech, and we're very excited to learn more about that here with Elizabeth. And what I'm going to do is take us here to Infinity Circle, infinity and beyond. So, Elizabeth, tell us a little bit about Infinity Circle.
With pleasure. So I'm very happy to be able to talk about Infinity Circle today to all of you. Infinity Circle is a transformative ambition. We are building a digital marketplace, which is going to be the first one-stop shop wealth creation platform across asset classes and cross-border. And specifically, the digital platform, which we are launching in 2021, has been designed, and the offering is the result of extensive research and development. And it's designed to be simple, smart, secure, and social. And what we are doing is we are creating a private international marketplace where we are going to marry cutting-edge technology with exclusive private investment and wealth management opportunities. And we are our vision is to democratize wealth management, to make wealth management accessible to a wider number in a way that's really simple, secure, trusted, vetted, and transformative. So very different to existing propositions that you would be able to find out there. And there are quite a few, being created, and there is an acceleration that we have been able to see this year in this space.
And it really is transformative versus kind of the whole speculative. One of the last talks we were just talking about the ICO market and just kind of the Wild West days that was in 2017. But using Infinity Circle, this has come full circle with trust, transparency, and as you said, bringing this to simple and secure, and bringing this to a wider audience, and that's very, very exciting for a lot of people. So
it is. I truly believe it's going to change the game in our industry.
Right. As do I. So tell us about wealth management.
So wealth management, let's go back to the basic. What is wealth management?
Right.
Wealth management is optimizing your assets as a private individual. That is wealth management. And it's taking a holistic approach to this. So it's not just thinking in terms of purely the metrics of return on investment or, return on equity or the very hard metrics. It's really, from a private individual perspective, it's taken into account your whole circumstances, the various tools, the structuring, your tax position, and it's making the best decision based on these metrics. Up until now, wealth management, and I've been in the industry for close to 20 years, and I've spent 16 years of that period in big banks. I spent almost a decade at Barclays here in the UK,
Great.
advising high net worth clients, ultra high net worth clients on successfully on how to preserve money, on how to grow their money, and there are fundamental techniques and there are fundamental ways of looking at one's wealth to optimize assets and to manage this wealth. And when I left the banking world a few years ago to set up Infinity, my vision was that these techniques and this knowledge doesn't have to be knowledge that's only held by the elite and by the 1%.
Right.
This is knowledge, and these are techniques that could be shared with the wider public. And the key to doing that is technology. It's the possibility to scale these techniques and this knowledge and this offering. So it's really the combination of an old trade, which is banking, finance, wealth management, with cutting edge technology that will enable that. So we are very excited, and it is a very exciting prospect to be able to share this knowledge and to impact the industry through creating a platform that will be accessible around the world.
And your name says it all as well, because as a person authenticates themselves and then is linked in with your overall solution, and people go through the KYC process, all the other components, then as you said, you're creating trust in the process, and everyone is looped into this circle, which has not been the way that investment has worked for hundreds of years.
I agree.
Yeah.
And just to add, I actually had a Series 7, and I was on Wall Street for a short term, for a while, but that's how the investment professionals keep the small investors out, because you have to pay them an extraordinary amount of money for the advice. Whereas this, you essentially using the platform to more democratize the whole infinity circle process to the world on a 24/7 basis, right?
Yeah,
exactly. Which in a way that is secure, where rules are respected, in an environment where both investment opportunities and individuals are vetted and go through a stringent KYC process, and which indeed creates a circle of trust where transactions can be done properly. They can be done in time. They will be done quicker and in a cheaper manner. So actually everybody wins. It's a win-win proposition.
right. So, and you kind of talked a little bit about the problem we've talked about, but share how this is, as you say here, a rich man's club versus where you're going.
So, there are several problems currently in the industry, in wealth management or asset management as it stands today. One is it is the monopoly of a small elite. It still works this way and has for hundreds of years.
Right.
And also, the existing players in the investment world are they are somewhat conflicted, because very often financial institutions create or manufacture investment products or financial products, and by the same time advise their clients to invest in these products. So you would expect that if you have a financial institution manufacturing a financial product, they would want to push this proprietary product just because simple mathematics, they can command a higher margin.
Right.
And in fact, that's not advice. Advice is normally determined in the best optimal proposition for an individual in his circumstances. It is not the sell agenda of a financial institution force fitted into a client's portfolio. So from experience, the way we see how the industry has been operating is there is an inherent conflict of interest. It is the monopoly of an elite, and it doesn't have to be. And in fact, if you have a channel that distributes or shows or advises on investment opportunities without being the manufacturer of the product, you can be sure that you have a much more neutral position, and that the advice that is then given is in the client's or the user's interest.
Exactly. All right, so tell us about this use case in terms of the problem.
So the use case is to, since Infinity Circle is pre-product, very important to understand, for users, what the platform is going to offer them. And so the platform is a transactional platform, but yet it also has a social component. The transactional platform is, in a very seamless way, as a user, you can go on the platform, you can look at investment opportunities. You can either look at investment opportunities in a self-directed manner, or you can seek advice. So that is entirely your decision, but you have both options. And you are able to transact directly on the platform, to select an investment opportunity, and all the process will be automated. You can then, from the disclosure of the information about the opportunity to the point of closing the transaction, everything can be done on the platform. Yet we are a hybrid model. You can also have human touch points as and when you wish, to get a better understanding of what you're going to see, to ask questions, to get specific advice. So it's really a combination of the old and the new.
Great.
Right.
So this, again, this slide talks to, the cutting edge technology that we are building, to the scalability of the platform, to the fact that we want the user experience to be as simple, as smart, as secure as it can be. And also, and that is very important, to have a social dimension to you belonging to Infinity Circle. And what that means is, not only are you able to transact and see exclusive investment opportunities, but you are also, over time, having the possibility to connect with like-minded investors around the world. You are able to club together with investors around the world to position yourself to invest. And sometimes also to have access to investment opportunities where, for instance, the minimum entry point is very high. You would have the possibility to group and to have basically to have fractional ownership as an option.
Wow.
So it gives you many more options than just going on an investment platform, one of the existing investment platforms, and just buying an investment. You are able to connect with other investors. You have a community. You are able to discuss opportunities, and you are able to team up with other investors internationally to have an allocation to something that interests you.
And through community, you also have a reinforcer of trust in your overall solution. Because people talk, and obviously as things go well, they say good things. If something doesn't go so well, they speak their mind as well. So it's a reinforcer of that trust in your overall platform and product as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that is the key difference with the platform. This social component, which is most of the time absent from I'd say other fintech in specifically in wealth management, so in wealth tech solutions out there. The social component and the connecting community component is crucial.
Yeah, I love it.
Right.
So tell us about your target market then.
So target market, that's a very interesting question because we are starting, the platform is going to go live with an existing book of clients. Okay, so I've been in the industry for 20 years. I have a good number of clients who have volunteered to be the B2 population on the platform. It's quite a sizable number of clients, and they represent collectively about $1.5 billion of total investable wealth.
Wow. Yeah.
But interestingly enough, they represent, and they know that because we've had that discussion with some of the families. They represent the typical wealth management client base, both in their age and in the way they've managed their assets over time. So we're starting with a typical.
You're starting typical, but you're going atypical, right?
Yeah.
And so we're starting with a beta population, which is male dominated, older than 40. And I'm not even going to give more demographics, but I
get it. Yeah.
I'm not that diverse.
Right.
And we are targeting, they are going to be the beta population, but actually the heart of the platform and the vision is to target a younger audience, a tech native audience,
right,
and a more aspirational target market. So typically, we are aiming to capture an audience aged 25 to 45,
right,
equally male and female, international and diverse. And that is really the ethos and the core. You know, when we're talking about democratization of wealth management, we mean democratization of wealth management. We really mean making it accessible to men and women alike, to a younger generation, to an entrepreneurial mindset, to aspirational youth who want to get up the learning curve, who want to know how to manage and optimize what they have, and who are going with a transactional mindset on the platform. So the target market is a very important factor.
Well, I know from my experience the last few years with BlockCerts and working with our investors, et cetera, for the initial target market that you have, or the initial clients that you have, I would say that that's kind of the makeup of many of our clients or many of our investors, which there's a lot of work that needed to be done to explain tokens, blockchain, et cetera, whereas addressing the market that you're targeting, that's a market that's used to having a digital wallet, investing, online and quickly through a different mean than kind of where I grew up in my own personal investments, and So that's an interesting mix because they both are now converging. And
Yeah.
what we're seeing with our own audience and our own investors is that they're more involved in kind of the changing landscape as we're seeing it as well.
Absolutely. And I would say, Dan, that in fact this year made this happen.
Yeah.
Because
Mm-hmm.
I think all generations had to adapt. You know,
Right. Right.
they had to adapt, and if they wanted to be active and still continue whatever interest they're pursuing, they've had to go digital. They've had to master digital tools, and it's becoming, you know, and that is the, in my view, the silver lining, you know, of this rather challenging year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. Well, for us too, the silver lining, we have products that we didn't think we would have developed for a couple more years, and it's just condensed time, and then the needs for digital and trust and truth and blockchain. We couldn't have scripted this for our own business to condense time, and also for those of us that are all working from home now. Time is almost irrelevant. Do you wake up early, you work, and all of a sudden, you know, it's midnight, and Tiffany can attest to that.
Yeah, Elizabeth got an email from me at midnight last night. So
Yeah.
you know, this is great because I've seen just the last 10 years, there's a millennials and 30 and 40 something are more tech savvy and are used to all the apps that the I mean TD Ameritrade or Schwab that are using. And there's a big gap between traditional investment and then technology convergence to facilitate the millennials and 30 and 40 something. So, and absolutely, this is, you know, this feels a wide gap. And and the financial market, they're slower to adapt because of legacy systems. So this is perfect because you're new and you can be innovative to fill that wide gap. That is a big problem in the investment world.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your traction and where you're going.
So we, as I mentioned a little earlier in our conversation, we devoted a lot of time to research and development, and we traveled to Asia, we traveled to the US, we were in Europe, we were in London, talking to a whole host of wealth management players, to fintech players, to private clients, to wealthy individuals, to angel investors, getting a sense of how to shape the platform and putting in place a feedback loop to ensure that we were building a proposition that would, you know, meet a need and bring something new, transformative to the industry. What we didn't want to do is just digitize a long-going trade. We really want to bring something that changes the industry. And so the traction we've had doing that is getting all the feedback into incorporating that into the foundation of our business. And also, thankfully, we have this initial client base, which gives us a good starting point. Once we launch the platform, we will already have a good amount of users and a good amount of providers of financial products and services, meaning we're not starting from ground zero. In that sense, we'll go live with an ecosystem.
Right, and you'll have great feedback because of a client base that you've had for so many years. So that's awesome.
Exactly, and we're also convincing them to, you know, get their children as principals on the platform, which means that that's already the next generation. And you know, we know about the transfer of wealth that's currently happening between you know, the older generation and the millennials and Gen Z. So it is really involving 3 generations on the platform: the beta population,
Yeah.
is the ode, and then getting the next generation and even the generation after that to be participants on our private market is very exciting.
Yeah, exciting. Awesome. So tell us about the competition then.
So there are, we were saying, more and more fintech, wealth tech ventures out there. And for the moment, there is no exact match in terms of competition, in the sense that the fintechs that are out there tend to focus either on a sharp functionality. So you have, amazing e-payment fintechs, you have, KYC components, which are developing cybersecurity components. So you have all the components, but the creation of a one-stop shop wealth management marketplace, which is a model that can be scaled globally, for the moment is a massive opportunity out there.
Absolutely. Awesome. So let's review this whole world that you're creating here in your strategy.
And this is a good way of explaining.
Yeah, I love it.
The system.
I know, I love the visual. It puts everything into perspective.
Exactly. You divide the investment or the wealth management world into asset classes. And there are many ways you can do that. We've chosen 16 categories, in the sense you go from real assets, art, real estate, to financial assets, to the private market. So at the external part of this graph, you can see the various asset classes, and then which are all these opportunities are going to be provided by our partners on the platform, which will be vetted. And then the Infinity team internally is there to facilitate, to match, to advise, to ensure that the platform is in accordance to international regulation. And then you have protected at the core of the circle the users, because actually that's the main point I should make on this slide. The proposition is developed for users, for private clients. It's about empowering them to transact with the right tools, and it's putting them at the center of the whole proposition. It's not product pushing, it's about empowering and educating and enabling transactions for users.
Excellent. So, so tell us about the press and what people are saying about you.
Well, I think you have there, some names this side of the pond, very different type of publication, from Harper's Bazaar to a specialized wealth management publication of the Financial Times. We have been noticed since we incorporated at the end of 2018, and we have big ambitions. Our team is growing. We're currently 11 people on the team and growing.
Great.
And I think Infinity in the Press just gives you a little idea of the change we want to bring about.
Yeah, just social validation from the world that you're creating this incredible infinity circle, I call it. That's a perfect depiction.
Absolutely.
All right, so let's now talk about your roadmap, where you are now, where you've been, and where you're going for 2021.
Exactly. So, we, as I just said, we incorporated at the end of 2018, 21st of December 2018. We spent 2019 doing extensive research. We bootstrapped our whole team to the max. A lot of research, a lot of work, a lot of foundations. And 2020 is the year where we've, for the first time, gone to the market to fundraise. Interesting year to fundraise, I must say.
Yeah.
And we're progressing well, and we are aiming to close our first round of funding quite soon. And next year is the launch of Infinity Circle in Q3, launch of version 1.0. We already know that our vision is going to be delivered in 3 major upgrades of our technology, which we are aiming to have delivered by 2023. And the ambition is to go big and to really develop and expand our proposition internationally.
That's exciting. Okay. So let's look at the numbers briefly here, and we'll also talk about Fusion Funder as a matchmaker and as how we're going to play a role in that here in a minute as well.
Absolutely. So you have a few key numbers there. Obviously, we have the full financial model and numbers available. But basically, what this shows you is mostly the ambition. It shows you the starting point with the existing families as the beta population. This is actually, in my view, quite a conservative set of assumptions that are again available in our financial model on Request. But it gives you a sense of the number with a minimal, because that is really a minimal kind of projection in terms of client and partner uptake, the type of revenue that can be generated. We have a revenue model which initially has 2 main revenue streams. Infinity Circle is a B2B2C model. On the B2B side, you have Infinity Circle and the providers of wealth management products. We have a subscription model. The partner pays £15,000, dollars, or euros per annum to be on the platform and to use the platform as an additional distribution channel.
Okay.
We are aiming globally to have around 500 partners globally within the first 3 years of our launch. And then on the B2C part of the model, users go on the platform for free. The only barrier to entry for users is to satisfy the regulatory KYC on the platform.
Correct. Yeah.
And then as a user, you have access to everything that will happen on the platform: transactions, the private market. There will be a deal room. There will be an auction room. The moment you have the buy side and the sell side on the platform, the applications are infinite. There are so many things that can be transacted in a secure way. So this set of numbers is, in my mind, a very, very conservative worst case scenario projection.
Well, and important again to just reemphasize and share with those that are watching this right now is that as you said, you're starting with a base of clients that you have worked with for many, many years, and I think that's the differentiator here versus a business plan hoping to get initial clients. So I think that's a huge advantage, obviously.
Because client acquisition for fintech platforms is quite a risky.
Yes.
It's a risky approach, and if you start with a platform that could actually be profitable without even much more uptake, you're starting in a good position.
Correct.
Yeah, that's a good point, Dan. I mean, Elizabeth, you're starting with over $1 billion asset under management, or at least your book of business, as we call it.
Yeah, exactly. And also a very experienced team, because that's in terms of execution and mitigating execution risk for any startup, the quality of the team, but the knowledge, the experience. I'm lucky to have a COO who has 35 years of experience in financial technology and who successfully worked on delivering successful fintech projects. A CTO who is, incredibly knowledgeable and the great security, cybersecurity experts in this country. And then you have someone like Brian Marshall, who is the UK entrepreneur who introduced the barcode in business in the 70s. I mean, that is a major personalities and entrepreneurs who are already part of the team.
That's exciting. Wow.
We're looking forward to BlockCerts new applications to help us complete this round.
Okay, great. So, and Tiffany, I see that there are some questions that have already come in. We've got time for at least a couple of questions here if you want to just ask those of Elizabeth.
Great, thanks, Dan. Yeah, we have a few questions that have come in from the audience. So Infinity Circle is a very innovative platform, very new. So who do you see as your early adopters, your first adopters? You mentioned that in your presentation, but it just...
Yes, absolutely. Well, beyond the beta population who are, historical clients of ours, our early adopters in our mind are the tech native generation who are used to going online to get up the learning curve and who, for them, a safe, trusted, transactional method is second nature.
Okay.
Great. One more, Tiffany. We're running out of time here. So.
Okay, great. And the other one is, since now we're broadcasting this live in Singapore and Asia, any plans? I know you're starting in the UK. Any plans to expand to, say, Singapore or Asia and the US?
We are launching in the UK next year, and we have expansion plans in our roadmap for Asia, Africa, for Europe, and then for the US.
Great. So any parting words that you would like to share with our audience watching here?
Well, I wanted to thank you both, actually, for having me on today. I'm very excited, to be given this opportunity to be talking to everyone. And, if you are interested to reach out to Infinity Circle in terms of funding, participation, partnerships, any angle, please contact Tiffany at BlockCerts, and we'd be happy to be in contact.
Great. So it's a Tiffany at BlockCerts.com, or you can go onto our Fusion Funder platform. It's fusionfunder.com, and that's where you'll find the Infinity Circle information.
Great. Well, we've been speaking here with Elizabeth Dana, and we're very excited to be integrated with your company and your team, and being a part of your future. And thank you for being here as a live guest here on the Singapore FinTech Festival. So
thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.